Imagine for a moment that you're in the wilderness exploring. Maybe you did some hiking, you were in the mountains, and you accidentally dropped your phone while you were taking a photo, and that phone has now tumbled down a mountain. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but that's okay because you carry a spare key card in your wallet with you, so you can still drive your Rivian vehicle. Sure, right? Sounds ideal. You don't have an Apple Watch, right? You really don't carry. You have a traditional watch, and you get back to your vehicle. Again, you were in the wilderness, maybe in the Pacific Northwest, and you open your vehicle with your key card door. You get in, put the key down, put your foot on the brake, and realize that your vehicle is asking for a multi-factor PIN. Okay, problem. That's an automatically generated code that that you have to grab from your phone. The phone that has now fallen down a mountain. What happens, right? Your vehicle has no service. You don't have somebody else added as a driver of your vehicle. So you're really kind of stuck. Also, even if you did, how are you going to call them? Because you don't have your phone. I know this sounds like a very nitpicky situation and predicament to be in, but this is a real situation that has happened and can happen to people. I want to talk about Rivian's latest feature, multi-factor drive. This just unveiled itself with 2025.18, and there are very many pros and cons to this, and I want to talk a little bit about it in this video. So join me as we discuss what multi-factor drive is, the benefits, the cons, and how Rivian could have done this differently. As I mentioned, Rivian just launched this multi-factor drive situation feature, right? And in an ideal world, when you really think about it, you're probably wondering to yourself, why do I need this? Well, there are situations where I can see having some sort of PIN to drive your vehicle as being convenient. Maybe you live somewhere where it's dangerous. Maybe, I don't know, you have other people driving your vehicle, and you want to make sure that you're always aware of them driving it and you want to verify them. Situations like this exist. I fully understand that. But Rivian went about it a different way. Rivian went about it by launching something called multi-factor driving. And so what is multi-factor driving? Well, it is a way to allow you to have a second form of authentication before actually starting your vehicle and driving. What Rivian says, they quote, industry-leading feature increases the security of your vehicle by requiring you to authenticate each time you drive it. End quote. So how does this work? Well, once you go into your iPhone app and you enable it, anytime you get into the vehicle and you put your phone to brake, you'll get prompted on your phone and on the vehicle to, accept to be able to drive the vehicle. Alternatively, you can scan a QR code and put in a PIN that gets shown. It is a randomized PIN every single time you do this. So there is no way to go in and kind of set a backup PIN or your own PIN or anything like that. No, no, no. This is a customized PIN. That's what makes it industry leading security, right? It's secure because there really is no back end way for someone to get into your vehicle. Sounds great. Reminds me a little bit about how stolen phone protection on iOS iPhone works, right? Where you're required to have a second form authentication before you can delete stuff on your phone or turn off Find My or anything like that. I understand it. I think it's great to have these security leading things. To continue with this feature, pretty much anytime you enable and you press the brake to shift out of park, a notification will appear on the center display on your phone or even on your smartwatch. And then once you tap to enable, you're good to go. Only the vehicle owner can enable or disable multi-factor drive, so that's a great thing. So nobody else can accidentally turn it on or off without your permission. The setting does apply to all owners and drivers who have a valid key with your vehicle. They will just get a notification on their phone, or you will get a notification on your phone. And so another note here is that when multi-factor drive is enabled, the driver will not be able to drive the vehicle using a key fob or key card without authentication. So again, you have to be able to authenticate the device, your vehicle. And these are time-based passcodes that are being shown. And Rivian made a big deal about it, talking about it in their latest Rivian story, where they talk about multi-factor drive. And I get it. You want to share and talk about this really cool new security feature to allow owners to be able to add another layer of security to driving their vehicle. But was this really the right way of doing it? And I say that because you look at other companies like Tesla, we're going to use them as an example because they are the closest thing when it comes to Rivian compatibility with like software, right? When you talk about parity, and the way Tesla does it is you assign a pin. And so you assign a pin that you've put in, and you can just use that pin every single time. Same way that you go to your phone and you either use your face to unlock, or you have a backup pin that you put in. Imagine if that was randomly generated every single time through an authentication app just to unlock your phone. That would be kind of annoying. But anyways, point aside, you're putting in a PIN, a personal identification number that you've come up with in order to unlock your vehicle and use it. Rivian decided to opt for a different way of doing it by doing a time-based passcode that randomizes itself every time. And that's wonderful, but if you don't have a backup to be able to override this, ideally a backup where you can set your own PIN, that's something that you can use to override the vehicle at any point so you can actually drive it. Where if you were in a situation like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, then you're kind of screwed. Think about it. You're now in the middle of the wilderness. Your vehicle probably doesn't have connectivity, cellular connectivity, because you're out again in the adventuring in the wilderness. These are adventure vehicles designed to do this. And you're out and about. Again, maybe you lost your phone. Maybe you don't have an Apple Watch or an Android Wear watch. And you're trying to unlock your vehicle and get going. When you've unlocked it, you're in the vehicle. Maybe you hit that SOS button to see if you can get somebody on the line. But again, there's no cellular connectivity, and it's not like the vehicles use satellite in order to be able to reach out to try to connect with SOS or anything like that, right? So you're now in a predicament where you have a brick, a 7,000-pound brick that you cannot do anything with. And okay, well, no worries, Jose. I'll just hitch a ride back to town and grab another phone or whatever it may be. But again, you're out in a wilderness. Who knows where the nearest town may be, how far it may be before you have service again. And once again, you still don't have a phone. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Is that while these are very nitpicky situations and a scenario that I'm talking to you about, it is a scenario that can happen and they can definitely be talked about. It has to be talked about because it can happen. So Rivian, what I'm asking you is really think about this in a way of, while you've launched a really cool feature here of multi-factor drive, and to be frank, let me just be very clear. This is really cool. Okay, I want to be clear. This is really cool, and the way you've designed this. But there should definitely be a way where we can have a backup code of some sorts where we can unlock and utilize the vehicle without having to worry about locking ourselves out. So, really what I'm trying to get at is if you're someone who is potentially going out of the beaten path using your vehicle as, one wants to and should, maybe consider disabling multi-factor driving before you go out there on your adventure. Maybe consider not even turning it on to begin with. Maybe it's not something. The pro outweigh the con of this, right? Does having the ability to have to put in a random code every time you use your vehicle outweigh potentially being locked out? And I'm talking here about wilderness, but let's talk for a moment a little bit closer to home. What if there was a cloud connectivity issue that impacted Rivian, right? Potentially impacting that. Maybe Bluetooth doesn't work, right? There's just a lot of scenarios and situations here where I don't think Rivian fully thought it through. And maybe they did. And maybe I'm completely wrong. But I haven't seen anything that proves that. Okay. And so all I tell you guys is a word of wisdom, a word of warning is think about it before you enable multi-factor drive. It's a really cool feature. Maybe it works great in the city and in town, but before you really enable it, think about it. Do you really need it? Do you need to have it? And just consider for a moment what happens if you lose your phone and you don't have a watch. And yeah, that's all I've got to talk about. But I wanted to bring this up because ever since I started working with iOS with 2025.18, which I think is a great update, a lot of awesome stuff in there. I've been worried about how this multi-factor drive works, and I've spoken to other owners who have expressed concern. And I just wanted to get this out there. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Am I being ridiculous, right? Or do you think, do you agree with me in that Rivian should definitely have some sort of backup for this? Let me know what you think. I appreciate your time. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about multi-factor drive in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next one.